Okay, this is the worksheet that you have in front of you. It's called Proportion Word Problems. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be solving each word problem by first setting up a description of the proportion. You're going to write a proportion. You're going to solve the proportion using the cross products that we learned yesterday. And then finally, we're going to answer the question in a complete sentence. Okay, it's often helpful when you guys are solving a word problem to read it through twice. Once to get the gist of the problem, and then the second time would be to actually set up the problem and solve it. So number 1, it says a contractor estimates it will cost $2,400 to build one deck to a customer's specifications. How much would it cost to build 5 similar decks? So what you want to do is you want to look for 2 things that you're comparing, because remember, a ratio is a comparison of 2 quantities. So what we're comparing this time is we're comparing the cost, okay, there's the cost, and to the number of decks, okay, in the word problem. So the first part, A, writing up a description of the proportion. So we're going to be comparing cost, and we're going to be comparing the number of decks. And I always draw like a double arrow so that I know that that's kind of just a description. Well, the cost of that they give us is $2,400, and that's the cost for one deck. Now, if you notice, the cost describes what the numerator is, and then this description here describes the denominator. So it costs $2,400 to make one deck. Now we're going to finish our proportion. It says, how much would it cost? That means we're trying to find the cost. So I'm going to put a variable in the numerator because that's where my cost is, to build 5 similar decks. So 5 is referring to the number of decks. So I'm going to put a 5 down there. Now what you're going to do is you're going to use cross products. So you're going to multiply 2,400 times 5 equals, now we're going to go the other way, 1x. So now you've been given some calculators, so I'm just going to use a calculator because some of these problems have some pretty big numbers. Okay, and this is going to be, when I multiply that out, 12,000 equals 1x. Now, normally we would divide both sides by the number in front of the variable, but if we divide by 1, it ends up being the same in this case. Okay, so we solved our problem. So here's part A, where we set up a description. We wrote the proportion. We solved the proportion. And now we have to answer the question in a complete sentence. How much would it cost to build 5 similar decks? So I can make the sentence short. It will cost $12,000 to build 5 decks. And we're finished. Don't forget your period at the end of your sentence and a capital letter. Okay, number 2. We're going to do the same similar thing that we did with number 1.